we need to talk about something. Why don't KATSEYE's members like each other? This girl group was formed after eliminating 120,000 people. Chaos broke out. The world went crazy. But now, because of cracks within the group, a lot of people are talking about them possibly disbanding. Now you might say, but KATSEYE isn't K-pop, so why are you talking about them? Yes, they're presented as a global group, but at the end of the day, they were trained with the Korean system, and I think they're also aiming for the K-pop market. That's why I believe they have a place on this channel too. Now that I've explained that, before we start the video, I'd be really happy if you could hit that subscribe button. Thank you! Today, we'll start from how the group was formed, move into the chaos between the members, and especially talk about the exclusion of Manon. So, grab your tea or coffee and let's get started. The name KATSEYE might seem like just a cool name at first glance, but actually it has a much deeper meaning. KATSEYE is inspired by a gemstone that shines differently depending on the light. The different colors within the stone represent each member's unique character, culture, and talents. The idea to change the C in the original name KATSEYE to a K came from one of the members, Lara. They thought it looked cooler that way, so it stayed. So for those asking how this group came to be and what struggles they went through, let me tell you. It all began in 2021 when South Korea's music giant HYBE shook hands with one of America's oldest record labels, Geffen Records. This multi-million-dollar deal wasn't just a simple music partnership, it was a plan to create the world's first American K-pop group. But when you put American and K-pop in the same sentence, you can imagine that tensions were inevitable. HYBE and Geffen's goal was very clear: to create a super group that would appeal to both the Korean and American markets, include members from various cultures, and have an impact in fashion, social media, and music all at once. To form their dream girl group, HYBE and Geffen Records launched a competition program, the debut Dream Academy. This wasn't just any competition. Applications were open worldwide, from Asia to Europe, from America to Latin America. Over 120,000 young women wanted to join, but only 20 were chosen. Think about it, out of hundreds of thousands of people, they picked the absolute best. These 20 were brought to Los Angeles and trained for a year. The training process was based directly on the K-pop system, with grueling 12-hour practice schedules from early morning to late at night. These girls stood before the judges every month. Each mission tested both their skills and their teamwork, but such intense training was a huge shock, especially for those who weren't familiar with the K-pop system. Some members were already used to this style of training. For example, Yoon from Korea knew this system well, but for the contestants coming from Europe and America, this pace was incredibly challenging at first. During this process, some members were eliminated. Some left on their own, some got injured, and some couldn't handle it mentally. Sometimes they left crying, sometimes silently, but those who remained were quite literally flawless. Their dance moves were amazing. They shone in front of the camera, and they looked perfect on stage. As eliminations continued, the excitement in the competition grew, and finally, on the day of the finale, the 6 winners were announced. And there they were. After months of hard work, the members of KATSEYE were standing right in front of you. Sophia, from the Philippines, a leader figure known for her powerful vocals. Lara, of Indian descent, systematic, quiet but disciplined. Megan, with a Chinese mother and Swedish-American father, she was a contestant with deep emotions. Daniela, from Latin America, confident and colorful. Yoon, Korean, born into the system, moving with habit but not outgoing. She carried the role of representing the original K-pop roots with her Korean identity. Manon, from Switzerland, someone who joined the system later and openly expressed her emotions. A phenomenon. This perfect lineup of 6 finally debuted on June 28, 2024. On stage and in front of the cameras, they came across as warm and very friendly. People had already been watching them since the competition, so they felt a sense of ownership, welcoming them and embracing them with open arms. But the truth was very different from what we saw. It turned out that every moment of the girls' journey in the competition had been filmed and turned into a documentary. That group we thought was so sweet and genuine. The behind the scenes of their journey was revealed through this documentary. On August 21st, 2024, when Pop Star Academy was released on Netflix, people were briefly shocked because everything was different from what we had been shown. First of all, among the group members, Manon was, in my opinion, the most attention-grabbing figure in the documentary. She was added to the competition later. The other contestants had gone through months of eliminations. They had filmed dance videos, sent resumes, and filled out trainee application forms. Manon didn't come through the eliminations. In fact, forget the eliminations. She had no dance skills, no stage experience, and no real connection to music at all. The only reason she was brought into this competition was her beauty. Manon was already a social media influencer, and she was discovered completely by chance. HYBE's casting director saw a few of her posts that had gone viral on Instagram and Pinterest, then reached out to her, convincing her to join the competition. This unusual discovery story was already a sign that she would be treated differently from the moment she entered the program. And for exactly this reason, from day one, there was already a line separating her from the others. Because Manon didn't fit the traditional K-pop mold in any way, she even admitted herself, "I saw this process like a school. If I was sick or not in the mood, I thought I could just not go." This laid-back attitude led to her skipping training, not showing up to practice on time, and clashing with the group's discipline in general. On top of that, during the period when she caught COVID, she stayed away from training for a long time, another factor that made people question her commitment to the group. And in the beginning of the competition, she wasn't even living in the same dorm as the other girls. She received individual training with private coaches, participated in parts of the program remotely because she lived in Switzerland and arrived in Los Angeles later. Physically, she was outside the system. This difference created the perception that she was being treated specially. But her groupmates saw these absences as pure lack of discipline. They were there every day, dancing for hours, crying, getting injured, but still going on stage. So on one side, you had girls working 12 hours a day, and on the other, you had Manon saying, "If I don't feel like it, I won't come." It's obvious there was a huge sense of inequality and unfairness. And honestly, all the girls in the group felt this way. This was the first spark that lit the fire of chaos within the group. The favoritism shown to Manon was really in your face. It wasn't something hidden or subtle, it was blatantly obvious to the other girls. For example, because Manon missed a lot of rehearsals on the days she didn't show up, the others had to memorize 2 different choreographies. Plan A if she came, and Plan B if she didn't. Naturally, this created anger because the girls had to work even harder because of her. But honestly, putting all that aside, I think the weirdest and most frustrating part was the fact that she didn't live in the dorm with the other trainees. Manon chose to live with her aunt instead for personal and family reasons. This decision caused a lot of discomfort among the other members. The feeling started to spread that someone who wasn't living in the same strict routine couldn't really be equal to them. Especially when Manon started receiving special coaching programs in Switzerland, tensions rose even more. The rest of the group openly saw this as privileged treatment. During the competition, some eliminations became turning points. For example, Adela's elimination. Because Adela was one of the girls who received the highest score from the judges, she was very talented and worked incredibly hard. She truly put in an unbelievable amount of effort to debut. But since Manon received more votes in the public vote, Adela had to be eliminated. It's clear that the public loved Manon, but after Adela's elimination, the girls started to feel even more resentment toward her. Because in their eyes, Manon was only in the competition because of her looks. After leaving the competition, Adela didn't post on social media for a long time. She never openly expressed any resentment toward any contestant. But under a support video created by her fans, she commented, "I gave my everything." And honestly, I think she really did work giving her everything. Manon's behavior and the way she seemed to be treated like she had connections were the main reasons for the tension between the KATSEYE members. But this discomfort first came out clearly during a rehearsal room moment. It all started when one day Manon wanted to talk to the other girls. She wanted to finally break the ice within the group and clear up any misunderstandings between her and the other members. This attempt was welcomed, and a meeting was held in the rehearsal room with all members present. This meeting had both emotional and tense moments. Manon admitted that she didn't always attend training, tried to explain certain situations, and reminded them that sometimes other members also couldn't make it to rehearsals. But her explanations weren't met with empathy as she might have hoped. Instead, they were met with criticism. Sophia was the clearest and most direct voice in the conversation. She said politely but firmly that KATSEYE's core values were were discipline, consistency, and hard work. She emphasized that everyone was here through the same effort and that no member should appear to have special privileges from the outside. Sophia's statement brought out the feelings the group had been quietly suppressing. By the end of the talk, she acknowledged Manon's potential. She said Manon had a different kind of light and left the door open to the possibility that the group could be stronger with her in it. But this confrontation didn't solve everything. This scene became one of the clearest examples of why KATSEYE gives off the feeling of being together but separate. Yes, they danced on the same stage and sang the same song, but deep down, some of them still didn't trust each other. Popstar Academy was a tool that brought the group into the global spotlight, but at the same time, it became a mirror that exposed all the conflicts between them. And that mirror didn't reflect everyone's face in the same way. The confrontation in the rehearsal room was over, but the conflict wasn't. A large portion of the fans started sharing on social media the unfair treatment Manon faced in the documentary. Especially the fact that Manon was constantly placed in the background during some performances was interpreted by fans as systematic exclusion. It was said that Lara and Sophia always had more screen time, while Manon was often kept out of the camera's focus. But in the middle of all this tension, one thing was clear. KATSEYE had now become a phenomenon not only for their music but also for their internal group drama. After the documentary aired, the group's internal conflicts, the exclusion of certain members, and some openly showing that they didn't want others in the group were heavily discussed. While they now say they've fixed everything between them and that things are no longer like that, some fans still claim that Manon is being excluded and imply that the other members are jealous of her. And of course, the only thing being talked about wasn't just the fights we saw in the documentary. For example, in their latest song, Gnarly, certain scenes became a joke online, with many criticizing the inclusion of shots where two flies appeared to be mating. Or take the rumor that Lara was dating other girls in the group. That also got a lot of attention. Lara denied it briefly but clearly. "I'm not dating Daniela or Manon, we're just friends. And honestly, dating them, I would feel a bit like incest." After that, Lara shared that she's gay, and while coming out, she admitted she had serious fears, saying, "During the Dream Academy process, I thought if I told anyone, I'd lose my chance of getting into the group, and then you all were so kind about it. And you gave me so much love and support that I felt very confident about myself. So I love you all very much." In the K-pop world, where very few idols have openly come out as gay, Lara's step was seen as a pioneering move. It not only showed her courage but also highlighted how diverse and understanding the group's international fan base is. Of course, not everyone agreed. Some internet users continued to interpret Lara's close relationships with other girls in the group as romantic. These were the things we were shown in the documentary, but we can't know if this documentary reflects the truth 100%. Maybe it was all staged and just a publicity stunt for the group. After the documentary aired, some viewers started spreading rumors that the contestants were playing up to the camera, that certain scenes were filmed multiple times, and that some dialogues were cut and pasted together to create drama. Viewers especially focused on three main points. Manon's situation. In the documentary, Manon was portrayed as a lone wolf, which created a big perception on social media. But some fans argued that Manon actually interacted more with the other members and that the documentary cut out these moments to paint a negative picture of her. Adele's elimination. In the Popstar Academy finale, one of the big favorites, Adele, was eliminated, something many viewers found suspicious. Some claimed that Adele was actually higher in the fan votes, but the producers believed Manon would attract more attention, so they decided to put her in the group instead. Fabricated conflicts. In particular, some of the arguments between Manon, Sophia, and Lara had their authenticity questioned. Viewers thought the editing cuts and dramatic music in these scenes made the conflicts seem bigger than they really were. Following these criticisms, some fan accounts started demanding Netflix release the real version. A Change.org petition was launched and quickly gathered over 50,000 signatures. KATSEYE started out as a global project bringing together 6 young women from different countries. This journey began with the Dream Academy competition and continued with their debut song. While the group is still in its growth phase, they are already being talked about a lot. Whether the disagreements we saw in the documentary were real or, as the girls claim, things are fine now, we don't really know, but we can talk about it together. What do you think about KATSEYE and the group? Do you think they can last a long time, or are we facing another Hepsi situation? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. I'll be reading all of your comments one by one, so don't forget to share your opinions with me. Until the next video, take care of yourselves and goodbye.